flame. 5 survival jobs. Now spread them out. Keep 1 lighter in your bag, 1 in the truck, 1 in the kitchen drawer, 1 on your body. Lose 1 and you've still got 3. Keep them dry in a small zip bag, because a wet lighter is a useless lighter. And a lighter seals the frayed end of a cut rope in 2 seconds flat. A handful of lighters cost you a few dollars total. Compare that to a fancy fire-starting kit running $20 or more with a single point of failure. The cheap stack wins because it's in 4 places at once. Here's the failure chain nobody plans for. No fire means no clean water. No clean water means sickness. Sickness in a crisis is how strong people go down fast. The man with 1 lighter is 1 accident away from that whole spiral. You're never going to be that man. You bought 5 and scattered them. Here's one nobody sees coming. A little box of anti-diarrhea pills, generic loperamide, $1 to $4 at Dollar General. It might be the most important medicine in your entire cart. That sounds dramatic. Here's why it isn't. The military treats diarrhea as a genuine threat to a unit, not a punchline, a threat. Look at the numbers from our own deployments. Roughly 77% of troops in Iraq reported diarrhea, about 54% in Afghanistan. It was a leading cause of lost duty time, day after day. Now drop that into a grid-down world. Your water is questionable, sanitation is breaking down, 1 bad meal or 1 bad sip and it hits. And here's the part civilians completely miss. In a crisis, diarrhea doesn't just weaken you, it kills you. It strips the water and the salt out of your body faster than you can put them back. That's dehydration, and dehydration drops people just as dead as any injury. A $1 box keeps you holding fluids and staying on your feet. Watch what it buys you. It stops the fluid loss before it spirals into collapse. It keeps you strong enough to protect the people counting on you. It saves your clean water for drinking instead of a losing battle. Grab a few electrolyte packets while you're standing there too. They cost pennies and they put back exactly what you lose. Here's the mistake I see in almost every prepper. They stock guns and gear and forget the thing most likely to lay them flat. It won't be a raider that takes you down first. It'll be a stomach bug with no doctor coming and no pharmacy open. One rule you respect. This controls the symptom. It does not cure the infection. Skip it in a bloody or high fever illness and lean hard on fluids and rest. But for the common crisis runs, it keeps you upright and in the fight. In a collapse, staying on your feet is everything. Now grab a box of heavy-duty Contractor trash bags, 3 mil thick, a few dollars for the whole box. These aren't for garbage, they're shelter, and shelter is what keeps you alive when the heat dies. Here's the science that makes them matter. Wet pulls heat out of your body about 25 times faster than dry air does. Cold and wet together is what actually kills people in the open. Stay dry, and you stay alive. That's exactly why the military waterproofs everything and leans so hard on the poncho. A single Contractor bag does that same job for pennies. Watch what 1 bag becomes in your hands. Cut a hole for your head, and it's an instant rain poncho. Lay it flat, and it's a barrier against the cold, wet ground. String a few together, and you've got a lean to shelter. Open one under a steady drip, and you're catching rainwater. Wrap it around your pack, and your gear stays bone dry. 1 bag, 5 separate jobs. Here's the civilian mistake. They picture survival as a $500 tent and a fancy sleeping system. Then a pipe bursts or the furnace dies, and they've got nothing to trap their own body heat. You pull out a bag and cut your heat loss immediately. Layer 1 over a blanket, and you seal the warmth in against your body. Stuff 1 full of leaves or spare clothes, and it becomes insulation underneath you. A box of these costs less than a fast food meal. 1 single night of real cold with no barrier can put a child in serious danger. Here's the failure chain. Wet clothes, a dropping core temperature, confusion, and clumsy hands. Then it's a true emergency with no ambulance answering the call. A few cents of plastic breaks that chain cold. Nobody thinks trash bags when they think survival. That blind spot is your edge. Now the most versatile tool in the whole store. Duct tape. A roll runs $1 or $2. In the service, we called it 100-mile-an-hour tape because it held gear together under the worst conditions. This is the item that turns a small disaster into a quick fix. Watch what one roll does for you. It patches a torn tarp in seconds flat. It seals a cracked window against the wind and rain. It splints a broken tool handle or even a jammed finger. It pulls the edges of a wound together in a pinch until you can do better. And a strip across your heel stops a blister long before it forms. Here's the civilian version of this moment. Something breaks, and they've got nothing on hand to fix it with. So one small failure snowballs into a big one. A leaking shelter becomes a cold, wet, sleepless night. A busted pack strap becomes gear they abandon on the road. That's how untrained people lose ground fast over things that were completely fixable. Your training runs on improvising with whatever's already in your hands. Give a trained person a roll of tape, and there's very little in a 2-week crisis that can't be jury-rigged back to working. Shelter, repair, first aid, securing a load. 4 whole categories covered by $1 item. Here's the efficiency nobody argues with. A roll of tape costs about $1. No $50 toolkit beats it in the window that actually counts. Wrap a few feet around your lighter or a pencil, and now it's always on you with none of the bulk. Pair it with those Contractor bags, and you can build real, sealed shelter. Tape the seams shut. Tape the plastic to the wall. Tape a bag right around your body for warmth. This is the pair that turns a problem into a fix, while everyone else just stands there, stuck. You never run a kit without it. Not once. I saved the best for last. A plain jar of honey, $3 to $5 at Dollar General. It's 2 survival tools sitting in one jar, and almost nobody knows it. First, it's medicine. Honey is a proven wound and burn dressing, and here's exactly why it works. It's packed with sugar and almost no water. That draws the water straight out of any bacteria and kills them where they sit. It holds an acid that germs can't grow in. And it slowly releases a natural antiseptic as it rests on a wound. That is not a folk remedy. Hospitals use medical-grade honey dressings right now, today. Now the second job, and it's the one that stuns people, honey never spoils. Ever. The same low water that kills bacteria keeps the honey itself from ever going bad. They have found honey in Egyptian tombs thousands of years old, still perfectly edible. Nothing else in that store can say that. Watch what one jar does for you. It dresses a minor burn or a scrape when there's no first aid left. It soothes a raw throat when your body is run down and fighting. It's dense, fast calories the moment you need energy right now. And it's a barter good that outlives every other thing in the pantry. One cheap jar, several jobs, and it sits on the shelf forever. Here's the civilian mistake, and it's the whole lesson of this list. They spend hundreds of dollars on gear stamped with an expiration date. Meanwhile, the cheapest jar in the store is both medicine and food that never dies. One rule you respect. Topical use is for minor wounds and burns only. And never give raw honey to a baby under 1 year old. That's the whole run. 9 cheap items, all of it under $50. Real resilience while the shelves strip bare around you. Knowledge beats price every single time. I've laid the entire cheap stockpile playbook on paper for you, linked below for the day the screens go dark. So tell me, which item does your store always sell out of first?